Hey everybody, my name is Travis, and as you can clearly tell by the title of this entire YouTube channel, this is Flipping with Travis, episode numero uno. So this is going to be an unscripted brain dump, chronologically tracking all of my flips from numero uno, all the way till, hopefully, number 1000. We'll see. But yeah, so these are just videos for either potential real estate investors or just people who are interested in the concept, or anybody really, to tune into and kind of follow along as I go from super green to, super experienced. Now, just a little bit of background real estate investing wise. So this is episode number 1. So this is my first flip I'm doing by myself, and this is the first episode about that first flip. So these are not things where I, do a flip and then I come back and then I say, oh, this is what I did. These are things where during the flip, I'm going to be doing these videos explaining, okay, so last week or this week, this is what we did this week. And then the next week, this is what we did this week. So you can kind of see the step by step stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the gist. Now, why am I doing this? I feel in this space, in this industry, if you will, that all of the people that are, selling or giving advice on how to, fix and flip or whatever it may be, they're all people who have, flipped 500 plus houses, just crazy successful people, which, yes, you want to mock the people who are successful, as in copy them, because, they're telling you this is how I got to this place. But there wasn't really a chronological timeline. Like if you go and watch any of the fix and flip shows on HGTV or anything like that, there's no this is our very first flip, and then you get to see their first, second, third, fourth, fifth. It's all, hey, we flipped a bunch of houses, so we got this TV gig or this TV show. Because of course nobody's going to hire anybody on the very first flip unless HGTV wants to reach out to me and pick this up and turn it into a show. That'd be great. So long story short, I have been investing heavily in my expediting my real estate education for, I feel like it's been like 3 years now. So what I've been doing for the past 3 years is I kind of started off on the wholesaling side of things, and then I realized how much time went into that, because it was pretty much set up for me as, wholesaling's the easy. If you don't have time, do wholesaling. If you have time, and money, do flipping. But as I spent a whole entire year acquiring properties for wholesaling purposes, it's like, man, this takes like an insane amount of time to get all of these feelers out there, all of these leads out there. So over time, people that you contacted 3 years ago are like, oh, hey, I'm going through foreclosure now, or I'm going through this property's going through probate now, or whatever it may be, and now they're finally reaching out to you. But like to set up that what I call the spider web to start catching these flies, whether it's a month after contacting them, a week, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that was time I did not have due to all my other priorities, running the companies I run that are not related to real estate whatsoever. So I have been spending the last 3 years kind of networking, which is, I believe, one of my top specialties. I'm a pretty good networker. Just kind of building a power team of people. So I'm in Central Florida, which you'll gather that from all of my flips you'll see here I'll be doing throughout this entire web series channel. But I've been, acquiring and networking and befriending all of the people that I feel like that are essential to my success. So do I have the perfect power team at the moment? I wouldn't know, because I'm always looking to add more and more people to it. Contractors, other realtors, even as descriptive as somebody that does cabinets, or subcontractors and other wholesalers and lenders, investors, everything under the sun that I would either need to actually perform a certain duty or task during a flip, or someone that I can, rely on and just shoot a text to and be like, hey, I'm kind of stuck. What should I do here? And then they would be more than willing to, kind of answer that question. So we currently, the reason why 3 years later I'm doing episode number 1 is, like I said, we were focused on wholesaling and all the other stuff. And I mean, I can create my brain dump episodes from that. We can sprinkle those in here if you guys want that stuff. But I wanted to create a series that, once I got my first flip after, networking for the longest time and kind of gaining as much knowledge about everything as possible, not saying I'm anywhere near that point. I mean, I'm always a sponge for more knowledge and more education, experience, and everything. But now that I am at that point of numero uno on flip count, that I wanted to start this thing, kind of chronologically do it. So, when I do get, to number 100, to number 500, or however long I continue to do this before I stop doing it, if ever, it's a nice little timeline where you can see like the entire history from like, oh, this guy, look how dumb he was on number 1. Look how many mistakes he made. Granted, we of course hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to do everything in my power so that doesn't happen. But that entire thing, you can not just see me grow, but see if you're the people that watch Fix or Flip, the people that 95%, I would even say 99% of the people that watch these shows or pay for these courses, these education, have never flipped a house in their life. So that's why I said that's why I'm starting doing this show. So I felt like there's a need for someone to watch someone go from number 1 to number 1 to 10, as opposed to seeing somebody on their 500th flip. Like, of course they're knocking it out of the park. Of course they're making $100,000 profit every flip they do, because they've gotten to that point where they don't. I mean, there's still mistakes made, I'm sure, here and there, but they're so seasoned that they've kind of reduced all of the risk of having them. So that's why I felt like this was a nice little addition to the YouTube Real Estate Investor Series. Which, of course, you can tell me in the comments what your thoughts on it once it's all said and done here. But I kind of just wanted to lead up to through episode number 1 with the starter there, so you kind of have an idea of why we're doing this. Make sure, as you see right here at the top, subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to be attempting to do, for every flip we have, I'm going to be trying to knock out an episode like this every Saturday. So try to knock these out once a week, Friday or Saturday, sometimes towards the weekend, depending on availability. But we're going to try Saturday. So that being said, let's get into it. Flip number 1. I'm not going to go in great detail of the location. I'm not going to give you the house address, the street address, or anything like that. We can do the city, I suppose. But I don't want to give out too much information for my own well-being, because these things are. If I do this episode, this one right here, and I put it up on YouTube, and I'm still, it's prior to closing even, and or I'm in the middle of flipping it. I don't want anybody to, any of those internet trolls out there to jack things up and make things harder for me. So we're going to give you kind of vague location information, but we can give you pinpoint financial information, because, of course, that stuff is the most important. So that's why I have a Word document pulled up here on the side. So I have, this is my camera, of course, which I'm looking into, but I have my monitor, my keyboard, everything over here. So you can get a lot of the side of my face. That being said, let's get into it. So I have a property, number 1, that has not closed on it yet. It is about 20 days away from the closing date. Of course, it could close earlier than that if the seller is able to do so. But the max date is 20 days from this date I'm recording this right now. So we haven't even closed on it yet. So a little background on this property. This was sent to me from one of my wholesalers. So if you are going to be getting in the investment space where you do want to fix and flip houses for profit, whether you sell them for profit or fix them, keep them as your rental portfolio, and then rent them out for a nice profit, a pretty penny, if you will, then you want to have all of the top wholesalers sending you all of their properties all the time. Because if you're at a spot where you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next one, instead of you doing all of the searching, which of course it's still something you should do, because there's always the wholesaler always makes a couple thousand, if not more than that, on connecting the dots from the guy who has the property and you being the middleman. That's the whole point of wholesaling. You're just the middleman. Oh, hey, this guy's trying to sell a property. Do you want this property? Perfect. And you just made a couple thousand. So we can get to wholesaling. This one's focusing on the flipping side of things, being the actual flipper. So this one sent to me from one of my wholesaler connections. it was actually sent to me from one of my wholesaler connections, and also one of my general contractors that I've got a pretty good relationship with. He also sent me, because he has the same property sent to him from the same wholesaler. He's on the same email blast, and he knows that at this point in time, I'm pretty much looking very heavily to get that first one underneath my belt. But I want to make sure it's the perfect one. Don't just get a property that needs to be rehabbed because you want to flip a house. Like I said, I'm 3 years into this process, and this is number one. So you got to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, and the property is a perfect property to be flipped, and there's enough juice to be worth the squeeze, which is, I'm sure, something I'll reference every single time I do an episode here. So this was sent to me via email blast from a wholesaler, and also one of the general contractors I'm closest with at this point in time. He also sent it to me because we've already checked out a few houses. We're like, there's too much that needs to be done here. There's not enough profit margin. This isn't gonna be worth our time. And so he sent this one, which of course, if he sends me one before I reach out to him and say, let's check this out, then he knows it's gonna be a good one. So it's a property. We'll just say it's in Central Florida for right now. Of course, I'll go through. You'll get pictures. You'll get videos. You'll get more details as we go along this flip. But for right now, for episode 1, we'll just say it's in Central Florida. So this property is in Central Florida. It was listed as a 3, or on the property appraiser, it's a 3 1.5. So 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. And when we got to the property, which was earlier this week, it was Monday, so this is Saturday, like 5-ish days ago, we walked the property and we realized that the owner had at some point converted the half into a full, so it was actually full 3-2, which of course is just bonus money. It's always great. So we walked it and everything, and I'm going to go through the numbers of where I'm at right now, so you can kind of see why I chose this one and where we go from here. So the wholesaler, the wholesaled email listed a 3 1.5 bath property for $235,000. This is the price I have to pay to acquire this property before I even flip it. So this is the acquisition, the purchase price, the purchase cost, $235,000. I think that's too small a font. Let's make that bigger. If we're going to only type numbers here, we can make this pretty big. We'll do 36. Hopefully it's not too big. Hopefully it's not too small. But if we're just doing numbers, then we'll just keep doing this here. Okay, so $235,000. So there is a problem for those who don't have $235,000 is you can't buy the house. So what do you do if you want to flip and you have a decent chunk of change set up, or you just don't want to spend all of your money on it? You borrow money, but you can't borrow money from a big bank because they don't. Let me rewind there. So there's a lot of wholesaling like stuff I have to go through for those who don't even know anything about wholesaling. But when, like 99 times out of 100, if not 100 times out of 100, when a wholesaler sends you a property saying, this property is under contract, do you want to buy this property from the person who put it under contract? Yes or no? And how they get people to convince, how the person. So there's a lot of levels to this. I know there's people watching this video that know about investing, that know about wholesaling, and I also know there's people who have no idea anything about real estate investing whatsoever. So I want to make sure I dot all the I's and cross all the T's so there's nobody completely confused. But if you are confused about anything, if I don't go into enough detail on any of the stuff I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments, and I can either answer you in the comments or answer you in one of our future videos here. So if you're getting whether it's on market or off market property for a great price, because it's a potential flip opportunity, 99 times out of 100, you're gonna have to buy the house in all cash. So you can't do a mortgage on it. You're gonna have to buy it all cash. If a wholesaler sends it to you, because that's how the person that gets the house under contract, which means they have the right to purchase it. The reason they get such a good deal is because they're saying, hey, I'll offer you. I mean, I'll offer you 230. We'll just use this number. I'll offer you $235,000 all cash. So if somebody else offers them like $236,000, but they have to go through like bank loans and mortgages and stuff, and there's a bunch of jumping through hoops, the person's gonna want to take the all cash because it's literally just say like handing them a big bag, a plastic bag full of $235,000. Are you gonna take that? Or are you gonna take another $1,000 just to deal with a bank and a mortgage and all this stuff? Of course they're gonna take the all cash. It's cash in their pocket. So with these properties, like I said, 99 times out of 100, you're going to be paying all cash for them. So what happens if you don't have $235,000 cash? Which at this point, I don't. You get lending or private money or hard money, which is the term for people who have money that want to lend it to you for for a profit on the interest payments and any other fees associated. This could be a friend or family member or acquaintance or business partner that has a lot of money, and they want their money to make more money, but they don't want to do any work. So they'll give a person X hundred thousands of dollars. You'll say, okay, I'll either give you a piece of the profit, or I'll pay you this much interest for this 3 or 4 months it takes to flip. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Not going to waste any more of your time getting into the details here, but $235,000 was my purchase price to get the property. So I don't know the exact numbers yet. I'm going to get them probably for a future episode. But let's just say the person who reached out to this this individual, let's say 225. So let's say this guy, we'll call him John. Let's say John reached out to this homeowner and said, hey, I'll give you $225,000 cash for your home. So this house wasn't on the market. So this guy did not go through an agent. He did not, put it on the MLS. This was not listed anywhere to purchase. This guy just reached out to this man and said, I will give you $225,000 for your house. Of course, there could have been this guy reaching out because he didn't want to go through, paying commissions. He just want to, for sale by owner it. I don't know the exact story just yet, but of course I'm going to find those details out eventually. Hopefully, just so I can get a better understanding of the front end of things. But let's just say he paid $225,000 cash. So then he blasted out. He's a wholesaler, and he blasted out through his other wholesalers, through the entire wholesaling market, to everybody who is the actual fix and flip investor for $235,000. Well, why does he do that? Because there's $10,000 difference. So he makes, if these are the numbers, he would make a $10,000 profit from just saying, I'll give you this much money, getting the guy to say yes, and then going to Investor Man, which in this case is me, and me saying, yes, I'll pay $235,000. It could have been, he could have offered $200,000 and made a $35,000 cut. Wholesaling's crazy. We'll get into that in other episodes. And then he actually wholesaled it and reached out to one of my closer wholesaling friends, and she is the one that contacted me about the this property. So I'm sure that she probably got a cut. So maybe it was like $7,500 him, $2,500 her. So for her just simply taking the property that he was wholesaling and then blasting it to me, she made like $2,500 from the email. Just if these are the numbers I'm saying, which I don't know the exact numbers of what the wholesale split was or anything like that, but I'm sure since I'm close to them, they'll be more than willing to tell me. But we're not going to talk about the wholesaling side of it. We're going to talk about my side of it. So $235,000 is the purchase price. I don't have the money, all of the cash needed to purchase this house. So I went through a hard money lender. Now there's people, like I said, there's individual people, friends or family that you could possibly go through, or there's actual, companies that are literally built on the concept of lending to people who want to fix and flip houses. I've networked with one already, a handful of them. And so I was like, listen, there's this house I want. This is the purchase price. And then you have to, know the purchase price. You have to know the rehab. You have to know the ARV. And for those who are unfamiliar with that term, that stands for after repair value. If you can, and you can't, this is not a number you guess on by any means. You have to show what's referred to as comps, which is like, oh, this property, a 3-minute drive away, is the same bed, the same bath, very similar square footage, similar year built, and sold for X $100,000. So I feel like this could sell for this much because that property is very similar and that just sold for this much. So those are that's the gist of how comps work, for those who are unfamiliar. So the ARV for this property, $320,000. So from the purchase price to the ARV, we have a gap of, I had this, hold on, I should have a text message. Sorry, I should have text message. So I don't feel like doing math in my head right now. So that's an $85,000 difference. At point blank range, you're like, holy crap, you can buy this house, rehab it, and sell it for $320,000 for $85,000 profit? No, that's not a profit. That's just the in between. There's a lot of things that go into that, from getting it from there to there, that are going to eat away at the $85,000. So let's get into that. I'm going to make this font smaller because I'm going to be typing a lot of stuff, and I don't want to have to like scroll back and forth. So if you don't have the greatest eyes, I recommend putting on some reading glasses. Okay, so PP purchase price, ARV, and then I'll just type in gap, or I don't even type anything there. 85,000 is the difference between the purchase price and the ARV. Okay, so first things first, because I don't have the money, I have to borrow it. Well, how much does it cost to borrow money? It all depends. So the person I'm going through is one of the most reputable lenders in the Central Florida area. Does that mean it costs more? Depends on how you look at it. There are more upfront fees, but there's less monthly payment because if you're having a house for 3 months, you have to factor in monthly payments. So I'm just going to round numbers here. Actually, I don't have to round numbers. Let me pull them up exactly. No, that's not what I wanted. Give me a second here. I have the exact numbers here for you. There we go. Okay. So all right, so we have a $235,000 purchase price. The loan fees, this is everything I have to pay up front to get this loan. So everything factored, the organization fee, the points, everything up front that I have to pay, like before I'm able to, even like before I'm able to acquire this property, my upfront loan fees to get this loan is actually, the exact amount I've calculated right now is $9,385.47. Let's see here. Purchase price, loan fees. The monthly payment was like $1,400 something. And so I'm expecting to only pay 3 months of the monthly payments, because this house does not need a lot of things done with it. So we'll just do, so the number I've calculated for that, $4,452 in monthly payments. But that is 3 months worth. So now we have to figure out how much does it cost to fix this property, so we can sell it for $320,000. And that is a little bit of a conundrum situation I'm in for this first episode prior to closing. So let's just calculate those things right now. I'm just going to do it with my calculator here real quick. I have a different number pulled up, adding a few more things into there. But for the sake of this, $235,000 plus $9,385.47 plus $4,452 in monthly payments. Right now, we are at $248,837.47. So we already jumped up a little bit based on the loan itself. So the other thing is that people who lend you the money, the hard money lenders, private lenders, they typically don't give you every single dollar you need to purchase it or every single dollar you need to rehab it. Because if you don't have skin in the game and you're simply using 100% of somebody else's money, then they don't want you to act as if you don't have skin in the game, so they literally force you to have skin in the game. I guess that's just the gist of it. So with this particular property, I don't have that pulled up right now. Let me see it. I thought I had this pulled up. I don't. Give me 1 second here. Bear with me. Where is that? I think I have the document somewhere here on my phone. There we go. Okay. So of the loan, I'll just do another line here. So we already know the loan fees are going to cost me roughly like $9,400. But I'm not getting $235,000 to purchase it. All I'm getting to purchase it is $188,000. Okay. So if it costs $235,000 and I'm getting $188,000 towards the purchase, how much are we missing? We're missing $47,000. What does that mean? That means that me, Travis, am paying $47,000 towards the purchase price. So they know if I have $47,000 in, like as in skin in the game, as I was referring to earlier, that I'm gonna take this dead serious, because that's an insane amount of money. I've never even bought a car for that much. I haven't even bought a car for half of that much. Yes, I don't think I've even I haven't even bought a car for half of that much. Yet. Goals, people, goals. So, $188,000 is what I get. We'll just say purchase loan amounts. Ooh. And then we'll just say down payment. This is my down payment on the house. So that those two numbers there, $188,000, $47,000 equal $235,000, which gets me the house. So now your next question may be, okay, Travis, I'm gonna shrink this down even more in the font. I'm gonna go to 20. I just want everything to fit nice and neat. Okay, Travis, well, what about closing cost? What about commissions? So the good news, when you get a property that is off market, 90% of the time, the person doesn't want to go through a realtor to sell their property, a real estate agent, because they don't want to pay them. They don't want to lose any money on this house to commissions, which is this case. This guy's selling it without any person. So there's no seller's agent that requires commission. Another tidbit that is something that many people do not know. Many newbies do not know. If you are buying a house as an investment property and not a house to live in, you also do not have to get an agent nor be one if you're buying an investment property, which is something I learned very recently, as I am like 99% of the way to getting my own license. So I also don't have to have a representative of the realtor real estate community. So I don't have anybody that I have to pay closing costs to. In terms of commission, there's still, a bunch of insurance and other things I have to pay. But commission-wise, that is good news. Because that would, let's just do the math here real quick on what that would be. So if it's $235,000, typically the commission for the seller's agent and the buyer's agent in a typical transaction is 3% both ways, 6% total. So no matter who's paying the commission, the total commission for two agents coming together and buying and selling a house is, for this price, is $14,100. So that is $14,000 that people don't have to be paid in this situation. So let's get back to where we were at. We're buying this house for $235,000. We're trying to sell it as an ARV of $320,000, hopefully more than that, but that's our goal, to $320,000. We know what the loan costs to borrow the money. We know how much money we're going to get when it's borrowed. We know how much the monthly payments are. What other information do we need? Let's calculate it. So we need to figure out how much is it going to cost to rehab, to fix this property, to get it to a point where someone could realistically see themselves paying $320,000 for it. And so on Monday, like I said, 5-6 days ago, this is when I walked the property for the first time. my general contractor, I said, hey, like I need to know how much you see this is gonna be, this rehab's gonna be, because I had till the end of the day to change my mind and not lose any money on get a full refund on the deposit I put down. I guess so it was $5,000 to say that I want this house and nobody else can have the house. So before I even walked in, I'm like, looking at the specs, looking at the comps, looking at everything. I'm like, this is going to be number one. I could feel it. So I did the down payment, which was fully refundable up until that night. So I was telling my general contractor, I'm like, listen, I have to get your official quote, your scope of work, because if it's crazy high, an insane high where there's no profit margin, I have to back out of this property. And so the goal was like 35,000, 40,000. 40,000 was kind of the goal. If I can do 40,000 to rehab, there's enough juice in this property to be worth a squeeze. So once I got the quote back from him, it was like 60,000, which, I mean, when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, a $20,000 gap, and you're like, oh, well, it's just $20,000 difference. No, that is huge because that pretty much takes away almost all of the profit margin that I had in this property. So I was like, holy crap, I can't do that. I can't pay $60,000 in rehab. So I was freaking out. Started texting like everybody in my inner circle, all the networking people that could assist me. I'm like, listen, like, what do I do here? What's going on? I really want this property, but if it's going to cost $60,000, I can't do it. So do I stay in it? Do I figure out a plan B? And so I talked to tons and tons of people, made even new connections through the chaos of me freaking out about the 60,000. So the general contractor who gave me the quote for that, it wasn't like numbers that are blown out of proportion or anything like that. And but I still, so even though this is like 5-6 days later, I'm like, okay, I'm not paying that much. I can't pay that much for this property because of our relationship. Like we're still texting back and forth on like, okay, let's, and he's something that he said to me, which is why I know he's has my best interest in mind. He's saying like, this property you don't necessarily need a general contractor for, because there's not like what's the word I'm looking for? You're not refiguring the layout. You're not doing any kind of like crazy changes. You're just more or less updating things. You're not remodeling. That's what I was looking for. You're not like remodeling the entire layout. You're just, making things look as sexy as possible for how the house is built. Now, there's some stuff you're changing, but it's pretty much just called a cosmetic flip. You're just cosmetically enhancing the property. So you don't necessarily need a GC on this. So if you want to do, just getting your own subcontractors and kind of overseeing things yourself, you have that option, which is kind of the direction I'm heading to as of less than a week from when I got that $60,000 quote. So let us go through the details here of how much money we have left after the loan fees and the monthly payments. So what do we have? We had 20. All right, let's get rid of these things here. Oops, I want to delete all of that. Okay, so this is how much we have. Let us calculate 320,000 minus how much it's going to cost to buy this house. Fee-wise and everything. So 320 minus 248, 837.47. So right now, our 85,000 has already been diluted down to $71,162.53. Sure. If you don't factor in any other cost, there's other costs. Trust me. There are other costs. Like I said, there's title insurance. There's when I sell the property, if I want to have the property on the MLS, if I want to have the property sold by a great seller agent, which I do plan on doing, that's going to cost money as well. There's other costs that go into this, but if right now, not even factoring any of those costs, we're already looking at a $71,000 gap, and you pay $60,000 in rehab, if everything goes according to plan and there's no extra cost, that's only $11,000. There's no investor anywhere, a seasoned investor that will take this project on for an $11,000 gap, if you will, or $11,000 profit margin, because if one thing goes wrong and you have to put like another couple thousand into it, then you're already at like $8,000. If something else goes wrong, then it increases your chance of losing money on a property. So that's why I was like, I can't do 60,000. So we're still trying to do taking the general contractors 60,000, trying to get as close to 40,000 as possible so a general contractor is someone who, kind of is the manager of everything happening. And so he gets if you need pipes, he gets the pipe guy. If you need painters, he gets the painter guy. Like, he handles everything. And so of course there's a fee to having someone handle everything. So if you take out the person that's handling everything, then that was going to reduce your cost. So if I am focusing on managing this property myself, and just with outside help from other seasoned investors, and we somehow get to the point where we are only spending $40,000 in rehab cost, which is kind of what we're aiming at right now. I think it's possible. I'm pretty sure it's possible, or else I wouldn't have taken this property. But we're saying $40,000 right now. $71,162.53 minus, we'll say $40,000 even. That leaves $31,162.53. Now, like I said, there's other fees and costs. I'll just round up the fees and costs. So it's going to cost. This is a exaggerated roundup, but if we round up all the additional cost from point A to point B that hasn't been calculated yet, in terms of closing costs on the selling side and anything else, no, that's pretty exaggerated. We'll say $5,000. So we take this number you just have, and then there's $5,000 and all the other, closing cost stuff. We're looking to make here on this property $26,162.53. Now, the hope is it'll only take us 75 days from closing to closing on me officially owning the property, and then closing on me officially not owning the property anymore. 75 days is the goal, based on the what my contractor and I were talking about. So 75 days is the goal. If you think that making $26,000 in 75 days, so just over 3 months? No, 2 months, 2.5 months, $26,000 in profit is good, this may be for you. I think if I made $26,000 in 5 days, that would be a good first flip. Of course, I already know there's other things that are going to come up, but factoring in some of those other things, getting to $26,000 profit is the goal. So that's where we are at this point in time. We are 30? I'm sure there's gonna be some editing involved here, but my counter right now says 38 minutes into the video on the recording side of things. All the other ones are gonna be much shorter. I just needed to have a build up there of kind of explaining things for you. If you have any questions at all, just let me know in the comments. I'll answer them in the comments, or we'll go from there. So where we are next with the property is we have to, actually get the loan, get the money in our account, and purchase the property in 20 days. And then if there's anything else that happens that is massive enough to do a recorded thing, we'll do that. But if not, sometime in the next 20 days, or even after we do closing, will be the next one. But then after that, that's when the weekly ones come in, where every single week I'll be doing these recaps of this is what happened this week, this is what we did this week, and including pictures and stuff. I'll have pictures pulled up and videos pulled up and stuff, but I just want to kind of get through the gist of numbers wise. This is where we are for the first property. So I'll leave it at that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about before we wrapped up the first one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm very number oriented. I'm not a huge fan of math. I'm not saying this is hard math at all. This is literally pluses and minuses. But this helps, doing things like this, visual numbers, visual math, just helps me, process things and decide things. So yeah, that's number one, guys. Make sure you click the thumbs up, click the like on this video, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you don't miss number two. And when you click subscribe, there's a little bell icon. Make sure that's highlighted so you have notifications turned on. So as soon as my second episode goes live, on this channel. It'll actually notify you saying, hey, Flip 1 episode 2 is live. So that is the gist. We are figuring out how to get to the rehab to 40,000, and I feel like it's possible. If we do less than that, would be great. But yeah, it's just cosmetic. Rehab. The only thing non-cosmetic that I think that we're gonna be doing is doing a repipe, and that's like $3,000 to $3,500, just because every single bathroom had like different material for their pipes. It was weird. You can tell it was just like either a guy that doesn't know what he's doing, like the homeowner doing it himself, or he hired three different people, 3 different occasions to fix 3 different pipes. I don't know, but we'll go more in detail on the pictures and stuff. I just wanted to kind of break this down here. So this is the goal: 75 days and getting as close to $26,000 in profit as possible. There's a potential ARV for higher than 320, depending on the market, because there are houses that have sold at a higher price per square foot, which is how you calculate ARV in the first place. But yeah, if there's anything specific if you are so new that you don't know terms I'm talking about, or you want more detail about something specific, please let me know in the comments. But I will see you guys on episode 2. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully you do subscribe so you can see the next one. See you guys.